Yay.
All right. Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. Playoffs. We are in
Playoffs.
the playoffs for most leagues, anyways. Week 13 is in the books. Playoffs have begun. If you missed out on the playoffs, we will have a special offer here for you in a bit. You may have heard of it already. But if you made it, make sure you stay tuned for this episode. We will give you all of the fantasy advice and goodness that you need heading into round one of the playoffs. So let's kick it right off here and get into some calm or chaos.
Let me just say real quick that this shows how dedicated we are to doing this. That three out of the four of us didn't make the playoffs, and we're still doing this podcast to help other people.
It's for the cause.
It's for the cause. Q, stop exposing us. How are we supposed to help people when we didn't make the playoffs?
Because I'm sure they did.
They took our advice and made the playoffs.
Yeah, they did probably. I think I focused so much on helping others that I forgot about my own team. My
That
squad.
happens.
My squad
It's a shame.
deteriorated.
That's life.
All right. Anyways, we got a few guys for Calm or Chaos, Trust or Bust, and then we'll get into the game previews for this round one of the playoffs. Start off with Justin Herbert, relied upon for the past few weeks. I know T-Gods is definitely
Shut up.
upset.
Shut up.
209 passing yards, 2 interceptions, 4 fantasy points. First game less than 16 points all season, and only his third game less than 23 points. This is Calm or Chaos on Herbert heading into the offs.
I think it's
Yeah,
he hasn't done anything besides this game to like tell you otherwise, like to bench him or whatever. This game was 45-0. Pretty hard to do an NFL game. I think. I just don't think this is gonna repeat. Sucks
Yeah,
that it
no
happened to
way.
T Gods in the most important game of his life, season so far, but it happens.
it happens to the best of us.
Tough one to swallow there. But yeah, I agree. Definitely staying calm on Herbert. He should be fine for the playoffs. I'll
Yeah.
talk about him more later. The next one here, Raheem Mostert, 9 carries for 42 yards, 1 catch for 1 yard. He was more efficient this week than last week, but less work as the 49ers played catch up. Is this calm or chaos on Raheem Mostert as someone you were hoping to get back for the playoffs?
You're still calm because he's the
Yeah,
workhorse.
I'm
on
gonna
the
stay
team.
calm.
Yeah, I think you got to stay calm. I think it had to do a little bit with the matchups. I think he will be fine. You should be confident starting Raheem Mostert heading into the playoffs. He's too talented to bench at this point, especially
Yeah.
since there's probably not much better out there.
And his playoff schedule doesn't really scare you either. I don't really see a defense in there that could really shut him down. And you know what he's capable of. He's as explosive as they come. So
Yeah, as long as he gets through this week, Washington's run defense has been pretty solid. But I think if he can get through this week, you should be fine starting him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried. All right. Todd Gurley had 8 carries for 16 yards, 1 catch for 4 yards for 2 fantasy points. Is this the effect of the Saints defense, or is this a sign of things to come? Calm or chaos on Gurley?
I
This
think
is
it's-
chaos.
chaos. It's getting towards the end of the season. I think his body's a little worn down. I mean, he was the workhorse earlier, but like he's had lingering injuries. He's had injuries in the past. I think his body's just catching up to him.
Yeah, he had a small stretch where he was like scoring points without needing the touchdowns. But like in the beginning of the season, we saw him needing touchdowns because he wasn't getting receptions, and it seems to be back. So this is definitely chaos for Ty Gurley.
Yeah, I think this would be the most promising matchup for him in the playoffs anyways. I mean, he's playing at the Chargers, who are like a lower end run defense, but I still don't feel confident starting him. I'm just nervous about his health. And I mean, we saw him in the past. I mean, his last 2 games were both against the Saints. So
Yeah.
Saints run defense is insane.
Even though the workload wasn't even there, I think he had 8 carries in each of those games.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, in every other game aside from games against the Saints, he had at least 14 carries. So you hope he can get some of that work back against the Chargers, but
We'll see.
you might have to start him, but I'm not super confident in Gurley this week. I got him ranked at my 30th running back, so it makes me nervous.
That's far.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm nervous about Gurley. All right, Terry McLaurin, 2 catches for 14 yards on 6 targets, 3 fantasy points. This was his worst game all season and his first game with less than 13 points since week 5. So this Calm or chaos on McLaurin?
You're calm.
Calm.
They played
He's
the Steelers.
Yeah, he's clearly the number one option in that offense. I mean, like we just talked about with Jay Herbo, it's one mishap. You can't count on that to happen every week. I mean, he's clearly the number one option. Although Logan Thomas has looked good, but I don't see him taking many targets away from McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm saying Colin McLaurin. I think he will be fine too. I'm right with you there. Last one here for Karma Chaos. DJ Chark, 2 catches for 41 yards on 7 targets, but he has 9 or fewer fantasy points in his last 3 games. Calm or chaos on Chark for the playoffs.
Chaos.
Big chaos. I'm not
Now,
starting him.
You
in
cannot
the playoffs.
trust Luton or whoever it is they have at quarterback now.
Glennon.
Well,
Yeah.
now Sean has his answer. Remember, he asked who's better for this offense, Glennon or Luton, and I guess you could say
Neither.
because
Minshew.
Sure,
Minshew is
Trevor-
the best option.
Trevor Lawrence
Possibly. If the Jets somehow win a game, they should have last week.
should have.
Woulda, coulda.
But yeah, I'm with you. DJ Chark, way too risky to start unless you are in need of like a boom. If you're playing like the best team in the league
Like a
in your
nuke.
first round of the playoffs and you need somebody to go off. DJ Chark still has that
I
upside to
am
go
not
off.
starting DJ Chark if I'm playing the best team in the playoffs.
Well, you might need a boomer
So-
bust rather than like a safety blanket kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. But
He only had more than 12 points twice this year.
But he had
That's a
29 in
small
those
safety
games.
Blanket.
But it's still games over.
Yeah, it's risky. It's
Very
risky.
Small
risky.
fraction.
high
I'm not
risk, high
starting him
reward.
personally. So if I
Yeah,
had him,
nah.
I'm not starting him.
I'll steer away from him. Steer clear.
Chaos on Chark. All right, let's get into some trust or bust before we get into the game previews. Let's start with Kyler Murray. He probably didn't expect him to be on this list, but 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 1 fumble lost. Only 5 carries for 15 yards as well. Since this shoulder injury, he seems less likely to run. Can you trust Kyler Murray as your quarterback for the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yes, but the
Only because of his schedule.
The
Although
Cardinals
if you
is-
make the chip, it could be scary. Sorry, Q. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just think the Cardinals as a whole, like it's crazy thinking like the acquisitions they made over the offseason, like they're pretenders.
Yeah, they've lost so many of their games, and they've lost some heartbreakers too, like really close games. Aside from that Hail Mary one,
Yeah.
like that's like the only game they've won in the past like 5 or 6 games. So
But Kyler, you're trusting him, you're starting him in the playoffs because he's obvious. As long as he's like, you hope that he gets healthier because who knows? Like, they're not saying much about what his health is on the shoulder, but if he's healthy in the playoffs, you're feeling good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think you still have to roll out with Kyler. I mean, he carried you this far. You're not going to find too much better out there on waivers. So he's your best option. Cam Akers, 21 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown, 1 catch for 22 yards. He has a touchdown in each of the last 2 games. Can you trust Cam Akers as a playoff running back?
No, because now he's dealing with a shoulder injury, which is going to affect his workload. And we know Sean McVay and his carousel of
Young,
running
handsome
backs,
self.
his young, handsome genius ideas. Not 1 running back. He needs 3.
He needs 4.
Well, he did practice fully today, so Akers should definitely be good to go. But yeah, if he does lose any of these snaps due to this injury that kind of made him miss practice a little bit earlier this week, definitely avoid him. I mean,
Yeah.
he makes me nervous. I'm still not fully sold on him, especially with this carousel of running backs. We thought Henderson was the guy a couple of times, and then Malcolm Brown decided to take over there. So just too scary of a backfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just got to hope Cam Akers starts off with a hot hand, and then they'll roll with him. But if not, it could be any of the 3.
Exactly. Marvin Jones, 8 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. Is he a must start in the playoffs as your flex?
As long as Galladay's out. Do they have a timetable on his return?
He's
did
still not
practice.
practicing.
Still
Right.
not. Wow.
So start Marvin Jones.
I
Yeah.
love Marv.
Start Marv for sure.
He has sneakily snuck into the top 30 wide receivers this season.
That's
I mean, he only has less than 10 in one of his last 7 games. So
I
the
know.
floor is there.
And it was 9.
Yeah, exactly. So the floor is there. The ceiling is sky high for Marvin Jones.
The ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, start Marvin Jones if you have him. He has been rock solid. And he tends to go play really well against Green Bay, especially at home. So plug him in. Kiki Kuti, however you say his name, Cutie,
Cutie.
whatever. Q's man's here.
Kute.
Q
Yeah.
mentioned him on the podcast last week,
We told you.
racking up
you.
his stats, saying that he had over 100 yards in a couple of games
Against the Colts.
against the Colts. Against
This
the
one
Colts,
might have been his best career game, not his best career.
8 catches for 141 yards. Is he a viable playoff flex though?
I say so.
His
Yes.
schedule's a little scary though.
That's what scares me too.
He
This
has
week,
Chicago
especially.
this week, and he has the Colts next week. I mean, the championship, it's looking alright. He plays Cincy, but
Yeah. If you make it to the chip and you're starting Kiki or Wild,
you're.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got that far unless you're in a deeper league with Kiki as
I
your
mean,
flex.
you were considering starting Chark, who hasn't done anything.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I had Chark this season. I didn't make the playoffs, so that's what happens when you have DJ Chark. So, but anyways, yeah, I think Kiki is a viable flex, especially if you're looking for some upside. He was rock solid this past week, but just be wary of the matchups. Don't be shocked if he flops.
Yep.
Hollywood Brown, last one here for Trust or Bust, 5 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. He now has back-to-back games with 4+ catches and a touchdown.
I don't care.
Is his relationship with Lamar being fixed?
No,
I don't care either. I'm not starting him.
He's way
Please
too
don't start him.
inconsistent.
Imagine if Dez played that game.
I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped 2 next
They did
week.
Dez dirty. I'm still on board with the being a conspiracy theory
Yeah, that's
here.
a whole other thing.
Who gets tested pulled off of pregame warmups? Like he was already out there on the field. Like why would they just test him right then and there, not when he's coming into the building or something? It's
If
so
they
weird.
did that, they should have tested everyone.
Right.
It's very, very weird, and then gets pulled off and can't play against his former team.
Free Dez.
Jerry Jones is sus.
That boy sus.
But anyways, yeah, I'm not trusting Hollywood unless you're feeling daring. I mean, he definitely has a pretty juicy playoff schedule, but he has been super inconsistent this year, and he could easily flop. So I'm not trusting him at all.
Are you feeling more comfortable
Bust.
starting Hollywood or DJ Chark?
Probably Chark.
Probably Chark, but it's awful. I wouldn't want to start
Yeah.
either.
It's bad. If you got to pick between those two, I don't know how you made it to the playoffs.
You probably aren't in the playoffs.
Yeah, facts. All right, let's get into today's sponsor, the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. So those of you that are out of the playoffs officially, definitely check out the Thrive Fantasy app so you can keep playing fantasy football. It's an app for player props, game props, and of course, daily fantasy sports. So if you download the Thrive Fantasy app today, use our promo code SUPERFB. That is SUPERFB. You will get your deposit matched up to $50 with a minimum of $20 deposited. So if you deposit $20 more, deposit all the way up to $50, you get $50 back. You got $100 to play with. Try to win thousands of dollars this upcoming weekend. So go check out this upcoming Thrive Fantasy app today. To you guys with Kobe mid-ad read. All right, let's get into the game previews. But before we do that, T-Gods, hit us with an update on the picks standings. Where do we stand?
If I have to.
Sadly,
Please.
You really don't
Yes.
have to. I don't think they care.
I think they care. I just think you don't care, Q.
I've got a lot going on. This is the last thing I care about.
Okay. I'm in last. Q is in third.
Q, you're in third.
I still don't care.
Sean's in second. Matt's in first. And Matt leads me by 6.
Okay, so it's a six gap. T-Gods, you went really from first to worst pretty quickly there.
I got cute. I got real cute.
Real cute again last week, falling behind Q. But it's no big deal. There's still a lot of time to come back. I'm definitely coming for Matt. Only 2 picks back here. So
Yeah, we'll see, bud.
we will see. All right, let's get into the game previews. Tomorrow night, we have the Patriots at the Rams. The Patriots scored 45 points last week, but did any fantasy relevant players come out of this game at all?
No, but one point you can make is that Cam is averaging 1 rushing touchdown per game. So that's thing he has 6 points ahead of every other quarterback because he's you can't say guaranteed a rushing touchdown, but he's scoring a rushing touchdown every game. So that puts him ahead. But I don't even know if he's startable in fantasy. Other than that, you're not really starting anybody else.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Yeah, if you
Any
have
of
the
'em.
playoffs, I doubt Cam is still your go-to quarterback right now. He might be in the waivers, but I still wouldn't really trust him. I'm not trusting any Patriots player right now. I mean, Damian Harris had 10 again, so he was in double digits, but Sony Michel is now back, so he's going to take away half of that volume. I'm not starting any of them. Makes me
Nope.
nervous.
Should
I
have
don't
sold
think.
Cam after week 2.
Yeah,
We
should have
told
sold
you.
Cam very early in the season.
Fire sale.
So you guys knew right away.
8 came. Ducks.
Hopefully he's not watching this.
I don't hate Cam. I like Cam. But the Patriots are bugs for fantasy. All right. The Rams had 7 fantasy players with at least 12 points this past week. But which ones can you trust in the playoffs? Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and that's it?
Yes.
Yes.
Dep-
Cam Akers is
Maybe you could choose the right running back, like
Yeah.
take a wild guess and get lucky, but I don't know.
Cam Akers is interesting, but I still don't feel comfortable starting him because Matt
Yeah.
just said, and you have to pick the right one.
Right.
Yeah, and this was Higbee's best game since week 2, so I'm not trusting him either. So yeah,
Team
he
Gerald
does-
Everett.
yeah, Gerald Everett actually had 10 too. So they actually had 8 players in double digits. I missed one.
Wow.
It's a good offense they got going
Wow.
over there.
Yeah, that was a really good game. I think they had like 38 points. So,
Maybe their defense play the Jets next week.
well, yeah, definitely Rams defense
Oh yeah, for sure.
has been there. I think they're 3rd on the season right now. So
Ramsey Island Q.
keep starting
Take
Rams
a drink to that.
defense as well. All right, let's pick this game. Patriots or Rams? Who you got?
The Rams.
Rams. Well, just remember the Super Bowl. They held
taking the
Rams 3
Patriots.
points.
The Rams are hot.
Patriots are hotter.
Whoa.
I will never pick the Patriots to win a football game. I hate them.
They should
Taking
be
the Patriots.
0-7,
Patriots are making the
0-16.
playoffs.
I don't know about that.
Can't count
Sean
out
doesn't
Bill.
even know what to say.
I don't know
Can't
what the
count out
standing,
Bill.
I don't know what the standings are.
He was like, "How do I back myself?"
Yeah, I didn't know the standings are either, so I didn't have like that reference in my head, but I just think they'll make it. All right. Titans at the Jaguars. This one should be pretty lopsided game.
Cakewalk.
Aside from James Robinson for the Jaguars, can you trust anyone on this team?
Tyler
Nope.
Eifert.
Wow, yo, that's weird. I was just gonna say that. No, not Tyler
Nah.
Eifert.
Tyler
Tyler
Eifert.
Gottschall.
I trust Tyler Gottschall.
Yeah, I'm not starting I'm not starting any Jaguars players anytime soon. I am avoiding this team. Aside
Yep.
from James Robinson, he has been a diamond in the rough that
I'm
I
surprised you didn't.
traded away.
I'm surprised you didn't try and defend Chark again.
No, I'm done with Chark. I'm done with the Jags. They're booty. On the
Jags are
Titans
done
side
with
of the
the
ball,
Jags.
though, the Titans' upcoming schedule includes Jacksonville this week, Detroit in week 15, and at Green Bay in week 16. Is it full send on all Titans for the playoffs?
Yes,
some-
sir.
Full send. You're not worried about Derrick Henry's stinker last week, and Corey Davis is definitely someone who's startable.
Flex worthy for sure.
I know I benched him last week, but I did get the win anyways by the
You
skin
got
of my
lucky.
teeth. Not benching Corey Davis anytime soon. Yeah, I think you could start pretty much all of them. I would still avoid their tight ends. I mean, the Ferkser or whatever his name is actually had 10 points
Ferkser.
last week. So maybe
Jonnu like fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that
well,
guy?
he was hurt last week, so he missed the game.
Hurt,
Yeah.
hurt.
But I remember he was like top 5 the first like 5 weeks, and then
Yeah, he was like top 5.
he just disappeared. I guess that's the storyline with tight ends this year, though. They can get hot for a little bit, but only the strong survive.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Tight ends are all boomer bust touchdown dependent tight ends right now, aside from like Travis Kelce and Waller. So, but yeah, the Titans fully locked in, full send, start them all, especially Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. They are going to feast.
hmm
But let's pick this one. I think it's a clean sweep. Titans.
Titans.
Yep.
Some
Titans.
Tits.
All right. Vikings.
I pick tits.
Tighten up.
We all pick tits.
Vikings at the Buccaneers. On the Minnesota side of the ball are Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen now the deadliest wide receiver duo in fantasy football.
They're getting there, but
Yeah.
to call them the deadliest, I don't know. You still have Julio and Ridley out there.
And you also
So-
have Kirk throwing it to them. So if they had a better quarterback,
that's
then
true.
they'd be the deadliest.
That's true. Kirk is very inconsistent, and quarterback play has a lot to do with how the wide receivers produce. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Sean
it's-
agrees.
No. I'm with you guys. I think Jefferson and Thielen are probably top 3 in terms of like the duos, like you said,
Yeah.
Julio and Ridley, and then Metcalf
Ward
and
and
Lockett. But
Fulgham.
Lockett has been so okay. Stop, Q. You didn't even say Rager, but
Carson
But yeah, I think Lockett and Metcalf probably still a little bit ahead, even though Lockett's been so inconsistent. But Jefferson, the last few weeks, Jefferson and Thielen have both been unstoppable. So if you have either of them, keep
Start
starting
'em.
them. They're going to
And
be
Dalvin
rock
Cook,
solid.
stoppable.
Dalvin Cook, not stoppable.
Well, he was stoppable the last couple weeks.
Not really. I think he had like 23 last week.
Never mind.
If 23 is stopping Dalvin Cook, then I guess he is stoppable.
Dalvin Cook's nice. Keep starting those three on the Vikings. You got to start them.
Yep.
For the Buck side of the ball, with which Bucks pass catcher are you most confident in for the playoffs?
Mike Evans. Mike Evans, Gronk, then AB and Chris Godwin are tied for third, I guess.
Yeah, you got to go Mike Evans. He's been the most consistent all year. So it only makes the most sense to go with him. Everyone else seems like they're on like a roller coaster, just
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah, we got to a stretch there where Mike Evans was looking pretty scary, but I think he still got the most upside to score touchdowns. Mike Evans is the one for me as well. And I agree with Q. I'd probably take Gronk second just because of the touchdown upside. Godwin third, Antonio Brown fourth. Godwin's actually been rock solid the past few weeks too. So Tom Brady's slinging it to all of them. I think they're all getting points. I think Antonio Brown's the only one that might just
Where's Scotty Miller?
fall off a couple games.
Stop.
He's like eighth. I would take Rojo, Fournette, and then Scotty
Bruce
Miller.
Arians.
Do
over
not start Scotty
Scotty
Miller,
Miller.
Great.
please. Cameron Brate. He could even fall into the end zone. So
Q still doesn't even have his jersey though. Makes
yeah,
me.
Q. Where's it at?
I got it from my Secret Santa person.
Better be yourself.
You.
All right, let's pick this one. Vikes at the Bucks. Who you got?
Bucks.
Bucks.
Can't remember who I was gonna pick. I think it was the Bucks. Bucks.
Who's your heart telling you to pick now, Sean?
It's probably the Vikings.
The Bucks. It's the Bucks.
Who'd you pick, Matt?
I took the Bucks.
The
Q,
Bucks.
who'd you take?
The Bucks.
You got
The Bucks.
the Bucks.
Can't get that cute.
They have to get it together at some point.
Yeah, I think, especially coming off a bye, I think they should be fine. All right, Chiefs at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are surprisingly have a really good record, but I think this still is going to be a one-sided game. For the Chiefs side of the ball, are you avoiding their backfield at all costs for the playoffs?
If
Yeah.
you own Hilaire, you're probably still starting him. Like he had the flu last week, so that's what kept him out of playing. But I mean, he's a part of the Chiefs' offense. He has the possibility of scoring points. I think if you have him, you probably were starting him the whole season. So yeah, you might still be rolling him out there because I don't know who may be better if you have someone else on your team. Like, are you starting Ty Johnson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Definitely Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not starting
it's a
Ty Johnson.
possibility.
I know it is, but I don't like Ty Johnson at all. Especially if Frank Gore somehow plays.
I don't
it's
like
like a
anybody
split.
on the Jets offense except
Yeah.
for Min.
I just don't trust the Jets. Yeah, Frank Gore especially.
I love Frank Gore.
But yeah, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire still is the one I would want to start, but I'm not confident right now in this Chiefs backfield. I think he's still a little bit risky just because they're going to mix Le'Veon in there, especially since Le'Veon was able to take that lead role last week. So we'll see though. For the Dolphins, did Mike Gesicki establish himself as the number one pass catching option this past
No.
week?
Nah.
Devontae
Still-
Parker has 7 or more targets in the last 5 games. So I still think it's Devontae Parker. He could have had a better outing if he didn't get in that fight. There was a few fights this weekend, but
Yeah, there was.
he could have ended up with a couple more points. But Mike Gesicki also had the touchdown. Devontae Parker was looked at in the red zone. He has been these past 5 games, I'd say. But Mike Gesicki, he's a tight end, so he's going to be up and down.
Yeah, he's boomer bust. I do think he's still the second best pass catching option, but I just don't trust Tua to consistently get anyone on the offense and the ball in this offense right now.
He
So,
did have catch of the week though with that. He had a one-handed grab in the middle of the field.
yeah, Gesicki has always making some crazy catches. He's an athlete. They should get the ball to him more, but not as much as they do. All right, let's pick this game. Chiefs at the Dolphins. Who you got?
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Chiefs. All right, Broncos at the Panthers. Are you trusting Melvin Gordon for the playoffs? He bounced back last week again.
Yeah, I don't understand what the
Nah,
hell
nah,
is going
nah,
on.
nah.
He's
nah.
too up and down.
He's
But
so inconsistent.
You may have gotten him for the low if you were someone who traded for him, so you could start him and hope for that good game. But he's too inconsistent to feel good about starting.
Yeah, I mean, he did have 131 yards rushing last week, which was the best since week 4. Pretty crazy, especially against the Chiefs, and only 15 carries. But I don't see that being like a consistent trend. Lindsey's still involved. It still makes me nervous, but he does have a favorable matchup. So if you had to start Melvin Gordon this week, I wouldn't be scared to. I think he'd be roughly an RB2 this week. So yeah, Broncos, not very fantasy relevant though. On the other side of the ball, for the Panthers, if DJ Moore misses this upcoming Sunday, are both Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel must starts for round 1.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big
I would
time.
even maybe expect some early week numbers that Robbie Anderson was putting up with DJ Moore out.
Yeah, when he was arguably a wide receiver 1, he was putting up crazy numbers.
Not even arguable, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've kind of been on the low hush about DJ Moore's ankle injury, but he's also on the COVID list.
Yeah, I was about
so
to say I thought he had COVID.
he has, but he hurt his ankle in week 12, left the game. I think it was like non-contact too, and then now he's on the COVID list with Curtis Samuel. They did say Curtis Samuel and him both could come off before the game if they
That's
get
a
negative
bad
tests.
zone.
But I think Curtis Samuel has a better chance of playing because I think DJ Moore's ankle injury is serious. But yeah, I think both are must starts. Both are very solid flex options. Or Robbie Anderson's probably wide receiver 2, even with wide receiver 1 upside with DJ Moore out. All right, let's pick this game. Broncos at the Panthers. This one should be interesting. Who you got?
Panthers. Especially if Christian McCaffrey's back.
I'm going Carolina Panthers as well.
They'll win this game.
Panthers.
I'll get cute. What do I have to lose? I'll take the
Nothing at
Broncos.
this point.
That's the spirit.
All right, T-God, switching
hate
it up. I bet you do. All right, Texans at the Bears. The Texans are playing at Chicago this week in below freezing weather. It's probably going to be anywhere between 23 degrees at max 31. And I think it's going to be probably like in the mid 20s. Are you nervous at all about starting your Texans players in Chicago against this defense?
No.
We've seen what bad weather did in the past where people had possibly the worst games of their season. So I would definitely be nervous.
If it's just cold, no wind.
Especially always playing in Texas.
15 mile per hour wind. So nothing crazy, but there's still an
That's
element
pretty
of wind.
crazy. 15
You're
miles
coming
per
from
hour.
Houston.
Well, the Browns wind bowls were 40 miles per hour plus.
Yeah,
You couldn't even throw the ball. So 15 seems chill. But yeah, they are coming from Houston. I'm a little bit nervous, but I still think it's the playoffs and you got to start who you have. And if you have
you
Deshaun
gotta
Watson,
start your studs.
you
Yeah.
still got to start him even without Fuller, most likely.
I have
Still a top 10 play.
Watson at 6, David Johnson at 24, and Brandon Cooks. Just like the top 3 guys. I have him at 19. So David Johnson pushed down a little bit because of Bears D, but
Yeah, I got Watson at 8 and David Johnson 27. So I'm right there
you're
with
still
you.
starting them.
Yep.
And Kiki Cutie maybe.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah.
If you're
he's a
feeling
risky flex.
cutie, start cutie.
But I don't think this Bears defense is as scary as it has been recently.
No.
They've found some holes. I mean, they just let up 34 points to the Lions. So what does that say? For the Bears, though, David Montgomery has been star-studded. He now has back-to-back 25-point games. Well, 25 plus. He had 26 this past week. Is he becoming a top 10 option every week, or is this just because of the favorable matchups he's getting?
I have him at, well, I mean, you could just put him at 10 because of his matchups. I have him at 10. Can't believe that he's found his way this high up in my rankings, but you can't deny what the points that he's been putting up. He's got after the bye week, like he had a week off from injury and then he had a bye week, and like he's been productive since then.
Yeah, he's RB11 on the season, which is
Wow.
crazy to think about. He is currently an RB1 right now, and he has a very favorable schedule for the next few weeks. So David Montgomery, he's actually have him at 8 this week. So David Montgomery is someone you should definitely be starting for the playoffs. All right, let's pick this one. Texans at the Bears. Who you got?
The Bears.
Texans.
I am taking the Houston Texans as well. As much as the weather will have a little bit of an impact, I still think they're the better team.
The Bears.
I picked Mitch Trubisky to win a game last week, and it was the biggest mistake of my life.
Well, I'll make a mistake this week. Go, Mitch.
Ty?
He said Mitch.
The
Taking the
Bears.
Bears. All right, we're split on that one. I don't like being with Q, but I'll take it.
We were together at the beginning of the season. It kind of got us. I don't remember where we were, but
I started off slow, then I had one good week, took the lead, and then just fell back into the middle of the pack.
All right.
Cardinals at the Giants. Chase Edmonds and Christian Kirk were both guys that were being relied upon a few weeks ago as pretty much flex option starters. Even Chase Edmonds was an RB2 with Drake out. But are they both must sit at this point for the playoffs?
I think you could still maybe consider Kirk because he's a wide receiver. Now, Fitzgerald is back for whatever that's worth. Probably not much, but Chase Edmonds, Kenny Drake seems to be playing better, or at least not still not what we drafted him to be, but definitely better, which is kind of erasing Edmonds getting touches. But Kirk, yeah, you could still maybe start him if you're feeling cute.
Yeah, I think I would, depending on matchups, definitely consider starting Kirk. But Edmonds, I don't know. It seems like Drake reestablished himself as the top option in that backfield, and he kind of ran away with it, in my opinion. So if I had to choose between one to consider to start, it'd definitely be Kirk.
Someone that has owned Kirk in 2 leagues this season, past 4 weeks, he has been very frustrating. I think he has 19 fantasy points total in the past 4 weeks. So he is definitely a boomer bust. I think he's similar to almost DJ Chark territory, where like you're only starting him if you really need that upside, and he has the chance to obviously take one to the house every week. So
Yep.
that's why you'd start Christian Kirk, but I'm avoiding both at this point. Edmonds, also risky. I mean, if you need a running back, obviously I understand, but he's still risky. All right. And on the other side of the ball, before we move on, the Giants. Are any Giants pass catchers startable with Colt McCoy at the helm again if Daniel Jones is out?
Maybe Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram
mean-
at 7, so he was okay. Maybe over the middle, Colt McCoy's a little bit better, but I'm not starting Sterling Shepard.
Seven's not going to
I
win you the. Seven's not going to win you the game. In
I
my
mean,
probably
Shepard
for tight ends.
Shepard still saw some targets the first game when Daniel Jones was out, but last week, like he's had 6 or more catches in 5 or 6 games coming up to this week. Then he had the one, but yeah, I think Ingram's the safest, but you're not feeling that great about him. Let me just say, Alfred Morris. Well, not that you're starting Alfred Morris. It was just
I need to leave.
Sean, how do you feel about Alfred Morris?
Alfred Morris is so irrelevant. The fact that he vultured Wayne Gallman twice
2
was
times.
disrespectful. The fact that they're even using him in that situation, Wayne
He's
Gallman
back.
has been way better. Anyways,
the Washington
definitely start Wayne Gallman. Do not start Alfred Morris. He is not going to continue to score touchdowns.
He's back to Washington form.
All right, let's pick this game. Let's stop talking about the Giants, as good as they have been, even though they upset the
I
Seahawks.
was going to say they've been playing pretty good.
All right, let's pick this one. Who you got?
Cardinals.
I'm taking the Cardinals too.
Stop.
easily taking the Cardinals. The Giants. That was the flukiest game ever.
Yeah, I agree. The Giants defense is pretty solid though.
I don't care.
Yeah,
All right, Cowboys at the Bengals. Snooze fest here. Snooze fest with the backup quarterback. So let's roll through this one. The age-old question: can you trust Ezekiel Elliott in the playoffs with this favorable matchup?
I have him ranked
maybe this week.
12th because of his matchup. But
Yeah,
you're
I
still
think this is the only
scared.
week.
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys could actually gain a pretty decent lead on the Bengals, which would only help Zeke because they would just want to run the ball and run out the clock. But I don't know. It's hard to tell with these two quarterbacks.
Yeah, they are bad quarterbacks. I probably would start Zeke this week, but San Francisco next week makes me nervous, and Philadelphia makes me nervous in the chip. So
Yeah.
I don't.
I think you have to start Zeke, probably because again you don't have any other options. But he could flop.
Yeah.
He could flop.
And don't be surprised if he does.
It's a weird thing to say. Like,
It's just
have
that
to, to have
offense
to
is.
consider benching.
I know.
That's just,
Sean benched him for
No,
Naeem
benched him for
Hines.
Naeem
like,
Hines
I
last
get
week.
it. I get it. It's
I
just
think
so
they had the same
weird
amount
to
of
me.
points, so it didn't matter. But it is
It's
so
just
weird.
the principle.
It just looked cuter starting Naeem Hines over Zeke.
It did. I mean, Zeke only has 1 touchdown in the past
Year.
like 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's what you usually rely upon. He's usually able to get in the end zone. He just hasn't. So you hope he can find the end zone in the next few weeks if you have him and you somehow snuck into the playoffs. For the Bengals, though, no Mixon again this week. But can you seriously still start Giovanni Bernard? He has
No.
8 or fewer points in the past 4 weeks.
Nah.
Negative.
Yeah, this whole offense is starting to get really scary at this point with Brandon Allen at the helm.
Yeah, he's
They're definitely missing Burrow.
and you are a little disappointed if you started T Higgins. Like Tyler Boyd was disqualified from the game early. I'd say early, kind of, and T Higgins didn't really do much after that, which you may have hoped for, being the only viable receiver. Maybe AJ Green, but still, he didn't do much, and he's a very talented receiver. And so Brandon Allen is pooping on this offense.
Is hurting their fantasy stock very much so, Q. I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think you just proceed with caution if you're starting any Bengals, but I would avoid Giovanni Bernard if you can.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick this one. Cowboys at the Bengals. Who you got?
Cowboys, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I am
gotta go with
taking the Cowboys too.
Cowboys.
It's a clean sweep. Bengals are bad.
I just think they have a better backup quarterback.
Yeah, I
Cowboys
agree.
are bad. Bengals are badder. Or worse.
Worse. Yeah, sure. They are badder.
They badder.
All right.
Swing better.
Colts at the Raiders. Is this real life? T.Y.
Hope
Hilton,
not.
a viable
back.
option this week. Is he a
Gonna wear
viable
my
option this
T.Y.
week?
jersey.
No.
Yeah, he's got to be.
It took 12 weeks for him to come to life.
Yeah,
It's
but
so
I mean,
annoying.
he has back-to-back good
touchdowns.
games.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't
mean,
know.
this is what I drafted the last 2 weeks in the 5th round. This is why I drafted T.Y. Hilton, because
And the
this is what
matchup
it
this
should have
week
been
is-
happening.
It's enticing.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a hopefully high-scoring affair with the Raiders. The Raiders' defense obviously stinks, but the Colts' defense is good. So you hope the Raiders can kind of keep up. I still think T.Y. Hilton is a decent flex option this week, despite how inconsistent and awful he was earlier in the season. He has gotten hot. It seems like him and Philip Rivers are finally on the same page. So
They're
I think
clicking.
I think he's a viable flex. But you probably have a better option
Yeah.
if you made it this far, because T.Y. Hilton was awful for so long. You probably found him on waivers, to be honest. All right. For the Raiders, if Josh Jacobs misses this week, are you confident in any Raiders outside of Darren Waller?
Nope. Devontae Booker, you were hoping for like a good game if you picked him up and started him with Josh Jacobs out, but he stinker. I don't know if
Hooper.
you can expect much from him against the Colts defense.
Yeah, I would
No way.
avoid Devontae Booker as well.
Q, you don't like Aguilar?
I was thinking it before the podcast. Like I'm not bringing him up this week.
Q's
Yeah.
had enough of Aguilar.
He was targeted a lot. We were watching the game together. He was targeted a lot that final drive.
Henry Ruggs ended up
But
with the
Henry
game-winning
Ruggs had the touchdown.
Yeah, so I think both of them are kind of just boomer or bust, like
Dart
desperation,
throws.
dart throw, flex plays. All right, let's pick this one. Colts of the Raiders. Who do you have?
Colts.
Yeah, I'm taking
I
Indianapolis.
think the
Give me
Colts have a better offense, better defense.
Give me the Colts.
The Raiders almost
Yeah.
lost to the Jets. There's no chance I could take them.
I'm taking the Colts as well.
Sweep for the Colts. All
Hit
right.
the broom.
Jets at the Seahawks. This should be an
let's
absolute
go.
blowout. So let's get through the Jets real quick. Are Crowder, Perryman, and Mims all viable this week against the Seahawks' poor secondary?
Yeah,
as
one of
flex
them's going to
options.
do good.
Yeah, we saw Crowder bounce back last week after a couple of in poor
on,
games.
just
I don't
say.
even know I don't even know what word I was trying to say. But is this trio too unpredictable to start any of them?
I would start Crowder.
Yeah,
I'd
I
start
think Crowder's
Mims.
still the safest.
I would consider Mims, but
He's breaking out.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can't trust the offense.
Can't trust the Jets
Yeah,
in the
it's the
playoffs,
Jets.
man. It's the Jets. I just can't do it.
Gator
For
could
the
trust
Seahawks,
Jets,
though.
or tried to.
Gator, yeah, he
Tried
tried.
to trust Frank Gore. Can't
Scored
trust Frank Gore.
82.
Maybe like 15 years ago, you could have trusted Frank Gore.
Scored 82. Disrespectful. All right. For the Seahawks.
Disrespectable.
Disrespectful, but I was laughing. Can you expect a bigger bounce back performance from Russell Wilson this week?
You hope
Yes.
so.
You
It's the
need it.
Jets.
Need it.
You
If
need it.
not, it's gonna
As a
be
Russell
big,
Wilson owner, you've been hurting the last few weeks. Hurting.
I'd also like to add, though, if you're a Chris Carson owner, Pete Carroll talked about he wants more balanced offensive attack, which means giving Chris Carson the full workload. And we've seen what he did at the beginning of the season. It was like top 10 numbers for a running back.
Mhm.
So you hope that they stick to that, and that Chris Carson can stay healthy through the playoffs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with Q. I think they could use this game, get up big, and then get Chris Carson back into the swing of things and just feed him, let him catch a groove.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's pick this one. Jets to Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
I am the 12th man.
I think we have like 2 games that aren't sweep.
Yeah,
It's good
hopefully
parlay week.
we got some more upcoming here. Packers at the Lions. Probably another sweep. Is Robert Tonyan a good tight end to start for the playoffs? Is he back?
Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Is he
He's
back?
back, baby.
Matt, you stuck with him
Robert
through thick and
Tonyan.
thin.
I did. That's my guy. I had to roll with him. I mean,
Dependable? Yes. Good? Maybe.
if you
Yes.
can depend on him, then he's good. He has a
He scored a
touchdown in
touchdown.
the past 3 weeks. I mean, I don't want to jinx it because the last time he scored in 3 straight weeks, that's when he put up like stinker after stinker. So
Yeah,
I'm just
facts.
hoping he's here to stay. But it was a good sign seeing Lazard back, Adams still there. I mean, Tanyan was still involved. Rodgers likes to look for him deep and in the red zone. So I am definitely confident with Robert Tanyan as my tight end going into the playoffs.
And they got some good matchups, so feel
Yep.
good about that. For the Lions, though, if DeAndre Swift is back this week, is he a must start?
I want to say yes, but he might be limited. I don't know.
Yeah.
Swift is good.
I'm
Makes me
ranked
nervous.
Swift is good.
They're playing the 30th ranked run D. People know that the Packers can get ran on.
I would feel comfortable starting him.
Yeah, I would too. I think he was solid even with limited work early on. So
Yeah.
he'll be involved, especially if they're down. He'll be the passing down guy. So
He's good for double digits almost every week. So
plug in Swift if he plays.
Yes,
Hopefully he's back for your playoff run if you have him.
yep.
All right, let's pick this game.
Anyone
Pack.
picking the Lions?
I'm taking the Pack.
Go Pack, go.
Packers.
Let's go, Rodgers.
This one might be a little interesting. Maybe. Probably not. Falcons at the Chargers.
This one is interesting.
Is Hayden Hurst still a reliable tight end for the playoffs, or are these last few games indicative of him falling off?
There's just so many weapons on that offense. It's going to be hard for him to get that workload each and every week. I mean, he still gets targets, but Julio being fully healthy, Ridley back fully healthy, I think it really hurts Hurst's fantasy stock going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm not super nervous. I mean, 2 of the last 3 games he has 1 and 0, but both of those games were against the Saints, and that defense has been locked down in general and completely
Yeah.
shut down the Falcons both games. So I think he could be fine with the Chargers coming up. They're gonna have to throw against Tampa Bay and KC as well. So I think he's definitely still worth owning, but he's definitely a little bit of a riskier start. You were definitely more confident before the bye week with 10 plus points in 4 straight games.
Yep.
You hope he can get back to that form.
You hope that he can return to. We forgot about Hurst at the draft for him.
Yeah,
Y'all forgot about Hayden Hurst?
That was any statement. I still can't believe that happened.
I can't believe anyone in their right mind would say that.
That needs to be tattooed on something.
He would. I must admit he was almost right, but
If Sam wins the chip, he has to get that tattooed somewhere. For the Chargers, are you confident in Eckler this week? Low key, the Falcons are the 5th best run defense in the league.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
his
Eckler's
passing-
getting that
yeah.
workload. He is matchup proof.
Yeah, he had 10 this past week, even in a game where they had 0. I'm confident in Eckler. Definitely start Eckler, and he's still going to get pass catching as well out of the backfield. So
Yeah.
he should be just fine.
Monster.
All right, let's pick this one. Falcons at the Chargers. Who do you got?
Falcons.
Falcons.
Psych. Chargers.
Oh, okay. 2 Chargers. I'm taking the Falcons. Dude,
Chargers.
they just lost 45-0. I can't pick
Turbo
that team.
can't stand for this.
Taking the
I
Falcons.
do love
I'm taking the
the
Falcons.
Chargers, though. But I'm
Chargers
taking the
are winning.
Falcons. This will be an interesting one.
I hate Herbo. I will always root
Keenan-
against him for the rest of
Keenan
my
is
life.
going to torch that secondary, and Eckler's going to.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring
3
game. I think the
million
Falcons
yards.
somehow win.
To you guys, I guess I
Sorry,
should
Matt.
tell your secret
It's
Santa
okay.
person return the Herbert jersey.
Are you serious?
No,
Oh.
maybe. Spoiler.
That would be so
serious.
funny.
If I opened up a Herbo jersey, I'd be pissed.
Surprise.
All right. Football team at the 49ers with Antonio Gibson most likely out with turf toe. Is Peyton Barber a plug and play RB2 for those who are desperate, or is it just the JD McKissick show?
I'd go JD.
Yeah, I don't think it'll just be the JD McKissick show because it would have been against the Steelers, but I'm more comfortable starting him over Barber.
Mostly based off the fact that he's like their pass catching back.
Yeah.
Regardless if Gibson was there or not, I feel like they're going to rely more on McKissick with Gibson out. Although Peyton Barber did look good, but I just think McKissick has that role on lock.
If his
Yeah.
name was Tiki Barber, I'd consider starting.
Yeah, Peyton Barber, you can only start and hope he falls face first in the end zone. That's what you're hoping for if you have to start him. I still think it's going to be the McKissick show, but Peyton Barber will probably get any goal line work if there is any, but he has never been that efficient from there either. So take that for what it's worth.
The day that we make merch, we need to make a shirt with the quote, falls face first. Hope he falls face first in the end zone.
I like it.
We should. All right. For the 49ers, are Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel both must start playoff wide receivers?
They are.
Yeah. Ayuk
still
has
have-
been nice when he's
Yeah.
been playing.
Ayuk is really good. Him and Deebo Samuel, this low key could be a really good duo for years to come if they get a really
in the
good
future.
quarterback.
Yep.
Because they've both been rock solid when they're able to play and stay on the field. And Ayuk has a lot of upside coming off of this rookie year. So I like both of them a lot. I think you have to start both of them if you have them.
You think George Kittle's coming back by any chance?
No, I
They
think
said week 16 at the earliest. So he might be there for the chip.
I don't think he
That
will
would be
come back just
crazy.
because the same.
But I
the
don't think so
49ers
either.
The 49ers aren't making the playoffs. So
Well,
there's no
actually,
reason-
they do have a chance to make the playoffs.
I don't think they will.
They're playing Washington this week if they win, and then they get at Dallas. And they should win that. And
Yeah, well, their quarterback's Nick Mullins. I'm not trusting Nick Mullins to take me to the playoffs.
Nick Mullins is, I don't think he's
He's
that much
decent.
worse than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, he's decent. He can get the job done.
Right.
All right.
They're 5-7. They win the next two. They're 7-7. They got to win two more, 9-7. They could squeak in with 7 teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have to win out. It's probably unlikely, but if they win the next two, I wouldn't be shocked if they bring back Kittle for that shot at the playoffs. So keep an eye on him in other leagues if he's still a free agent. Anyways, let's pick this one. Too much time talking about this game. Football team at the Niners. Who you got?
Football team.
Niners.
Niners.
Oh,
Football team's
Q's
gonna be-
riding solo.
Football team's
I'm
going to be
riding
high off
solo.
life
I'm
coming
riding
off that
solo.
Steelers win, but Niners are
Well,
still
this
better
man stopped calling my phone.
team. All right, Saints at the Eagles. I don't want to talk about the Eagles.
I don't want to talk about the Eagles.
But-
Oh no, we suck again.
Let's start with the Saints then. Do you think Michael Thomas can dominate Darius Slay similar to DK Metcalf with Taysom Hill at quarterback?
No,
They
I
playing,
was
he got
gonna-
hurt, didn't he?
He was
They-
hurt, but
He said he
he
wasn't serious.
he ends up playing every week banged up anyways.
I'm
Sean,
saying
You have a
that-
good point because if Drew Brees was the quarterback, we were gonna get well, Slay was gonna get torched regardless, trying to can't guard Mike. But I mean, as long as Taysom Hill's there, I'm not really too worried about Michael Thomas.
I don't want. I. If anything the Eagles do this season, they've already done enough that has made me mad. Just don't let Taysom Hill torch your defense.
Yeah, I think Michael Thomas will be fine. Don't worry about him. I don't think he's going to necessarily torch Darius Slay, but I think he'll have a solid fantasy outing. For the Eagles, though, I mean, we have to address the elephant in the room. What impact does Jalen Hurts have on this offense in a very tough matchup?
I'm not talking about it.
I don't think
What
it's
do, what do
bad.
we have to lose?
I don't think it's
What?
bad.
How it can't get any worse than it is. Honestly, like we could drop 0 points and I would be like, whatever.
I'd be happy.
We tried.
Bro, the ball started rolling when he.
Yeah, he was slinging that
Look,
thing.
he had a spark, but at
No.
the same time, it was garbage time. It was the fourth quarter. Like, we were pretty much out of
All
this
right.
game anyways.
Well, this whole game.
I want to see
could
what
be
he does
garbage time.
this game. But that even if it is, that's still like not a good thing. Means we
I would
struggled
treat
early
it-
on.
All right, I would treat the whole game, regardless if we're winning, as garbage time. I would just go out there and see what our offense is actually capable of instead of playing. We've been playing scared, and I hate it.
We shall see what Jalen Hurts can do. I think you're probably still starting Miles Sanders, even though you're definitely downgrading him against this defense. He's like a low RB2 at best this week.
He's
But
on
for
your
their tight
bench.
ends, I'm still too nervous to start Ertz. So Goddard would be the only one I would feel comfortable with out of all the pass catchers right now.
Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
Hurts.
Maybe Ertz, but
Q's holding on to that like little bit of hope. He's like,
I really don't
"Come
care about anything.
on."
There's a lot. I just don't care about. They just piss me off.
I'm sad about the Eagles as well. We
Q
will
is
have an article
depressed
coming
right
out
now.
this week as well. But let's pick this one. Saints at the Eagles. Who do you got?
Saints.
We all taking the Saints?
Yeah, we're taking the Saints. I don't even know why I'm sitting here.
I hope the Eagles.
You
win.
know what?
Actually, I don't.
I'll
know if
take
I-
the Eagles.
I hope the
Hey,
Eagles.
shut up, Matt.
Why?
You want the Eagles?
Yeah.
I hope there's a
Somebody
reason that
has to
Wentz,
have hope.
I hope there's a reason
Okay,
that Wentz
Matt.
has to come back in the game.
But that's my question: is how long is Jalen Hurts' leash?
A half. I think it's a half.
No, I mean
think you
like
gotta
in
give him
terms
the
of like
full-
what he does. Like if he
Nah.
throws
If he
3
throws 2 picks
interceptions,
in the
do
You
first
got
keep
to
him
take
in
the
there?
leash off. You just got to let him do whatever.
Even if he's just
Bro,
awful.
You guys swear that we have like all this stuff to lose. Like we're not making the playoffs, even if
I
we
know,
make
I
the
know.
playoffs.
But like, bro, blowouts are blowouts. Like sometimes you just got to sit the guy down
Well, why didn't we sit Wentz?
We
because
are.
we weren't getting
Until now.
blown out like crazy like that. Like if Hurts plays that bad, like Nathan Peterman level, bro, he's
Oh
gonna
my
get benched.
God, Mark Sanchez.
I'm
All right,
just numb-
anyways,
numb
let's-
to it all.
Let's just move
Eagles
on
are
from this
winning.
game. Matt picked the Eagles. What a nut! I'm coming for his head this week. Steelers at the Bills. This should be a good game. Game of the week, probably. I would have to say. Monday Night Football is also pretty good, though. We'll get into that in a second. But Chase Claypool was the odd man out this past week with only 5 fantasy points. Can he bounce back in a big game this week versus Buffalo?
I think he's becoming a bit touchdown dependent. Honestly, his value has gone down a bit.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, obviously, it's hard to live up to that 40-point game or whatever.
no
it
one's
was
thinking
with
about
4
that every
touchdowns. But yeah, I still think he has the upside to catch a long one every single week. I mean, he was really consistent for like 6 weeks in a row there. This is his first bad game since week 7. So I'm staying confident. I'm staying calm on Chase Claypool. I'm plugging him in.
Yeah, I'm confident starting any 3 of those receivers. Honestly,
Mhm. All right. And then on the Bills, Cole Beasley exploded this past week. More points than Diggs. I think he had 28 fantasy points. Is he a viable flex this week for your round 1 matchup?
yeah,
I don't
They're
want to
gonna-
say yes, but
they're gonna have to throw to keep up. So I mean, he's their second pass catching option. I
Yeah,
would-
with John
still
Brown
on
out,
IR.
he was better. So
Yeah.
I'm confident in Cole Beasley at this
He
point.
only needs 203 yards to have his first 100 or 1,000 yard season ever.
Yeah, in the
Yo,
next
I'll root
4
for him.
games.
He'll
That's
get
only
that
50
in 4
yards a game.
games.
He should get that.
It's crazy to think how much like I personally have not liked him because he's on the Cowboys.
He's been on the Cowboys. You can't
but
like
like
him.
now he's respectable. You root for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
He's a
Cole
good
Beasley.
guy. He does it the right way.
I don't know about his rapping though, but
He was yeah, definitely not his rapping. All right. Let's pick this one. Steelers at the Bills. Who you got?
Bills.
Steelers.
Bills.
I think Steelers drop another one.
I'm with you,
Nope.
Q.
They've
Bills.
been pretty poor these past couple weeks.
Steelers are coming back with a vengeance.
Who you got, Teagues?
I don't want to pick Steelers, but
I don't see them
Buffalo.
losing.
Buffalo.
All right, I'll
With,
Buffalo.
espe-
I'll
especially
take
with
Bills.
with James
Hey,
Conner
leave
back,
Matt
they're gonna have
alone.
that
I
run.
just-
They're gonna have
it
that
just-
running game back.
Let Matt fall down the standings. He'll pick the Steelers and they'll lose 2.
I
Eagles are
called it.
winning. Steelers are winning. Pennsylvania's gonna be on top, baby.
Matt will win this whole thing if if there's both win probably. Last one here. Ravens at the Browns. Is J.K. Dobbins now getting enough work to be started in fantasy consistently?
Yeah,
Yes.
especially with the touchdowns coming with the touches as well. I mean, there's no reason not to start him. The volume's there. He's producing with it. Mark Ingram hasn't been really relevant ever since he's been back. Gus Edwards kind of like fell off the face of the earth. So
He
He's
was
still
never
pretty
really
good.
all in the face. Well, he was all right.
he was,
Yeah.
yeah, he was all right.
He had 7 carries yesterday for 101 yards.
Okay, he was a little more than all right.
What did he break a big one?
Yeah,
That I
he had
missed?
like a 50-yard run or something. But still, 7 carries for 101 yards. I don't think it was mostly one run either. So
Man, whatever.
He's
I fell
decent
asleep
too.
during that game, so my analysis on that isn't all that accurate.
Yeah, it's the Dallas run defense as well. So I think Dobbins is the best of the three, but I still think it's a little bit risky to start any of them. A little hesitant, but I'd still start Dobbins out of the three.
Yeah, for sure.
For the Browns, what are you guys doing with Kareem Hunt for the playoffs? Is he too risky to start?
I'd
Depends
still
on who
start
your
him.
options are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
especially with all the injuries at running back and all the letdowns. I don't really see you having a much better option than Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's still involved in the passing game. Although when Nick Chubb did come back, he proved that that was his backfield. But I'm still trusting Kareem Hunt moving forward.
Once again, Kareem Hunt or Ty Johnson. That's
Stop.
pretty much like the only comparison you can make. Because like, what other running back is there to compare that?
Cam Akers is on a lot of waivers.
Are you starting Cam Akers over Kareem Hunt?
No, I'm still starting Kareem. So I think you still are probably starting Kareem, but you are definitely nervous, especially with Baltimore this week. Their run defense is pretty solid, but Zeke was all right last week. So
I'd start Ty Johnson over Cam Akers.
I'd start Cam Akers over Ty Johnson probably. I just don't like Ty Johnson, man.
I don't like him either, but sometimes you have to roll with the punches.
All right. Let's pick this one. The last one here. Ravens at the Browns. Who you got?
Sean, you taking the Browns?
Browns.
Yes, of
I'm
course.
taking the Browns.
Taking the Ravens.
Give me the Browns.
Come on now.
Who you got? You got?
Ravens.
I'm
I
running
called it.
away.
I got the Browns last week,
Okay, you can have them last week.
and I'm gonna have them this week. They're good. They're legit. 9-3.
Oh,
Baker's still garbage, but
Browns suck.
the coach
Baker
makes
was
a difference.
slinging it.
Coach makes a difference.
hate Bake.
He's only good at commercials. Even
Gators
then, he's
regretting-
decent.
Gator regrets selling his jersey for $30 now.
Who did he sell that to?
Probably another Gator.
Probably another Gator. That's great. All right. Let's get into our last segment of the day, the playoff hero. So what guy you think will play out of his mind the next 3 weeks
Out of his mind.
and carry a lot of playoff teams to the championship? There's usually a few guys every year that just go crazy. You see them in the playoffs and they
Carry you.
literally carry you. Tyler Higbee last year carried a lot of playoff teams to the championship. So let's see who we got this year. Q, start us off.
A guy that we talked about earlier. He's been pretty solid the last couple of weeks, more than solid. Top 10 RB. Well, 11th right now. But David Montgomery, his playoff schedule, if you have him in the playoffs, is pretty juicy this week. He plays Houston, and Minnesota, and Jacksonville. I assume by then you're in the chip. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to week 17, he plays Green Bay, so it just helps my case.
Yeah, that's even better.
But-
Exactly.
He's only going up from the bye week, and I don't know if he's going to play out of this world. That's Sean's making this. I should have just said Mahomes.
He is
but
playing out of this world the last 2 weeks.
But
51 fantasy points.
We know David Montgomery. I don't know if he's ever going to go higher than 25 for out of this world. Maybe out of Chicago. But yeah, I think if you own David Montgomery, you're starting him, and he could definitely give you those points that you may not have expected him to get you to the championship.
Yep. I was talking about David Montgomery a few weeks ago. He is a playoff monster this year. Hopefully he finished strong for you. I'm with you there, Q. T-Gods, who you got?
Spicy. I just want to let everybody know if you're able to make it playoffs with CMC hurt all year, probably going to win the chip. It's just how it is. It's just going to happen. He's going to come in. He knows he messed up. He knows he let everybody down.
He
all
messed up
year.
again this week, though.
And-
I would be worried he's injured like every new injury now.
Listen, he knows what week it is.
No,
He knows.
He does not care about fantasy
He cares.
playoffs.
Yeah, he does. He
He's gonna-
cares.
No, he
cares.
doesn't.
Yes, he does. And
He
he's
cares
to
about
win.
his body.
come in and go bananas.
It be
better eat some bananas with them weak ass bones.
Yo. Already played 3 games this year. 6 touchdowns.
I'm with T-Gods. If McCaffrey plays, he is going to win you your playoff matchups.
Yeah.
No matter who he's playing.
It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I was gonna say that, but then I just it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter.
Dude, he put me on his back last year and carried me to the playoffs single-handedly. My team was bad, but he was good.
He's so
He was
All right, Matt. Who do you got? Who is your playoff hero?
I'm just gonna roll with the trend and go with a running back, and that is Aaron Jones. I mean, his playoff schedule is very juicy. He has Detroit this week, who ranks dead last against the run. And then he has Carolina and Tennessee in the fantasy football championship for most leagues. And I'm very confident in starting him every single one of those matchups. Those are games that the Packers could go up early, just feed him, run him the ball. I mean, even if not, he still gets involved in the passing game. I think there's only a few games where he had less than 3 catches this season. On the season, he's averaging 19 fantasy points. So with the good matchups, I just see that being even greater. And he could definitely carry you to a championship this year.
Aaron
I
Jones has been free.
Agree. Aaron
Yeah,
Jones
he
is free.
has.
He is solid.
And you saw him break that big one against the Eagles
That was bad.
last week. But
Yeah. Start Aaron Jones. He will carry you to fantasy goodness. I'll wrap it up here. You guys isn't going to like mine very much. Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen.
I thought you were going to say Cam.
No. What? No way. Cam is not going to win people fantasy leagues. But Justin Herbert, although if you had him, hopefully you were able to make the playoffs despite this past week. But he has a pretty favorable schedule coming up: Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Denver. And I think him and Keenan Allen are both going to feast. If you're able to have both on your team this year, you are blessed. They are going to win you the chip this year. They're going to go crazy for the next 3 weeks and finish strong. I like the matchups that they have. And obviously Atlanta is one of the worst secondaries in the league. They already torched Las Vegas and they already torched Denver this season. They're just going to do it again. Both of them are going to, if you have both, you're definitely winning the championship. I'm guaranteeing it. Send me screenshots if it doesn't happen, if you have both and you lose somehow.
Sean owes you $50 each.
I want to see. I don't owe you any money, though. But if you have one, you definitely have a good chance at winning. Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen are both solid.
We'll give you his address.
Whatever. Anyways, let's get into some questions. We had one in the chat I saw. It was Robbie Anderson in flex over Marquise Brown, Alan Lazard, and Michael Pittman. I thought that was definitely a yes.
No
You're starting
brainer.
Robbie Anderson. Don't even consider not doing that.
No offense to whoever asked that, but how'd you make the playoffs asking like starting lineup questions like that?
That's pretty offensive.
I'm just saying.
That is pretty offensive.
Gotta keep it real.
Yeah, I hear you. But Robbie Anderson has been a little bit inconsistent, so I guess I could understand. But you're definitely starting Robbie. Don't get cute.
Sure.
Do not get cute. Another question here from who do you think? Gator. He is in the playoffs in our league. Is asking JD McKissick or Cam Akers this week. Gator, stop
Frank Gore.
thinking it.
Frank easily start Frank
JD
Gore.
McKissick. Stop.
No. You have
Stop.
to start Gore. You have to start Gore.
You
The
have
only
to start JD McKissick. Antonio Gibson's out. Stop it.
I
right now.
like our viewers and our fans, but I think we should block Gator next year because he might be just running with our advice, and that's why he's in the playoffs. That
Yeah,
and
he
a
might
couple
be.
other things, but
He might be
restrictions.
using us.
He might
One
be.
more question here from Joey Swank 47. Are you trusting Amari Cooper in the playoffs?
Yes.
This week, yeah.
yeah,
The other 2 weeks, he kind of has a tough matchup going against Richard Sherman. And the last time he played Darius Slay, he only had 1 point.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, I would definitely sit him against the.
yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes me nervous, but yeah, for sure. This
Other
week,
than that,
no
you should
doubt.
feel all right.
I think you should feel solid starting him in your flex. I like Amari Cooper. But San Francisco, maybe. But I still think like he's the number one receiving option on that team. And despite the matchups, he's been able to put up solid fantasy numbers pretty much every week. So aside from the Darius Slay game. So continue rolling him out. One more question here. Do you trust James Conner in the playoffs with Snell's performance?
I got COVID.
I'd like to know what Gator's saying no to, but that could be anything.
Yeah, I don't care about
Oh,
that.
it's to blocking him from the podcast.
Oh, he doesn't want to be blocked. Yeah, that does make sense. Anyways, do you trust James Conner in the playoffs? I'm certainly not trusting him.
Yeah, maybe
Well
in the
said.
chip he get a little scary. He plays Colts, and we all know the Colts is probably, if not the best defense in the league. So
Yeah, James Conner did hit a kind of a skid there. but I am trusting him. Like I couldn't see you benching him for anybody. So I think you got to keep rolling him out there.
Yeah. Just hope he doesn't have a replay performance of how he did in Cincinnati the last time.
Yeah.
Well, against Cincinnati.
I remember the last time Benny Snell was like could have been the starter. I said he was going to be Le'Veon Bell,
Yeah, he stinks.
not
Big
Le'Veon
time.
Bell.
He stinks. He's bad at football.
I don't know about all that.
I don't like Benny Snell. I do like James Conner though. Roll him out there. All right. Q, joke of the week. Wrap it up.
I hate to disappoint, but this week has been so stressful. I hate to end on a bad. We'll try not to end on a bad. It's been so stressful with finals, but the Eagles. I don't even have a joke this week because I've just been so down. If you
All right, well,
check-
we got to think of something on the fly.
all right, no joke. All I got is here's a little thing. If you check
Debbie
my
Downer.
TikTok, go on my TikTok, Chris Quares. Just take my @ name and remove the numbers. Check the TikTok of Carson Wentz. That may be the big, not even the finals, just the whole Carson Wentz Eagles thing. Depressing. I don't think I've ever hated something that. I don't think I've ever been so emotionally attached to an athlete in my life, and they just did somebody so dirty.
Damn.
And
Now I'm sad.
Damn. Q's
I want to
making me
get off and go to
sad.
bed.
that just made football like not fun. Go Sixers. I still enjoy doing the podcast. It's just this week has been rough.
Yeah, we got you guys for the next couple weeks here to just map out the schedule a little bit.
Matt, if
you're
you have a
looking-
joke,
Nah.
I
Yeah, I
probably
don't have
won't
a joke
laugh
either.
because I'm so depressed.
Yeah, Q, I don't have a joke for you, but for the next few weeks, we will be back previewing the playoff rounds. And once we get through that for week 17, we will definitely be doing our end of season awards podcast, going through, looking back at what players we picked in the preseason award show,
Some of them
And
are
seeing-
rough.
seeing how good we were, how bad we were, and then definitely giving out some awards for the end of the season here. And then after that, looking towards 2021 for fantasy football, we will definitely do a kind of very way too early rankings podcast, and we will go from there. Let us know if you'd be interested in fantasy basketball. Not sure if we would do it, but
I
let
can
us
give
know.
I could give a joke if you want. If it's gonna make people feel better.
Yeah, Q, make us feel better, man.
Yeah,
I'm
we
about
need
to
a
cry.
joke in these
I
times.
thought of a joke, but I wasn't going to say it.
What
It was
does
just
the
something stupid I thought of.
What does the gingerbread man put on his bed? Cookie
Frost.
sheets.
That's a good one.
All right,
That
Q.
was a good
I think
one.
that's a good one. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms:
depressed.
Twitter, Facebook,
Faithful book.
Instagram,
All right, Mike
TikTok. We're everywhere. I am Mike
Super
Tyson.
Fantasy bros.
Tyson.
Check out our website. We do have an article coming out about Carson Wentz this week to get more depressed if you are an Eagles fan. If not, you can laugh at the Eagles crying.
Laugh
this
at our
point.
pain.
Yeah, laugh at our pain.
Watch any Carson Wentz highlights, and with the song "Turning Page" in the background, you probably will shed a tear.
All right, that's a wrap. We're out. Peace out. See you next week.